My name is Alex Galt. I'm a teacher at Edina High School, and this lesson is about evaluating composite functions. You will learn how to compose functions, the notation for that, and how to evaluate a composite function. So it's possible to take the output from one function and use that output as the input for another function. Essentially what you're doing is just stringing together a bunch of functions like machines. Something goes into one function and then it comes out as a new output, and that output goes into the next function and then it comes out. This process is called composite, composing functions. And the way it works is, if you want to find, the wording of this is g of f of -4. And I'm going to put some color in to just help us kind of visualize. F of -4 is going to use the f function, and the output of that will go into the g function. So if I put -4 into the f function, I'm going to get f of -4 is going to be 2 times -4 plus 1. So it would be -8 plus 1, which is -7. Then I put that input of -7 into the g function. So then I'm going to find g of -7, and the g function is x plus 2 over 5, so -7 plus 2 divided by 5. I would add first because there's kind of invisible grouping here. The numerator is grouped, so it's going to be -5 divided by 5, or -1. So g of f of -4 is -1, because I strung together two machines and a -1 came out. I could do the same thing in different orders or with different inputs. And so the way it works, I'm going to use the same functions, but I'm going to find, first I'm going to find f of 1. So f of 1 would be, oh, I forgot to say, you should probably pause the video and try this yourself and then check your answers after you've tried it. F of 1 would be 2 times 1 plus 1, or 3. And then I'm going to find g of 3. So I'm going to do g of 3, which would be 3 plus 2 over 5, or 5 over 5, which is 1. So if I do all that work, I wind up back where I started. I can do it in the other order. If I do it in the other order, I just want to pay attention to kind of order of operations. I would work from the inside of the parentheses out, so I'm going to find g first. So I'm going to find g of 8. G of 8 would be 8 plus 2 over 5, or 10 over 5, which is 2. And then I want to find f of 2, which would be 2 times 2 plus 1, or 5. So I'm really taking a two-step process, starting with one function, taking the answer and plugging it into the other function. This notation with a circle here is another way of describing a composite function. It's you can rewrite it if you don't like that notation, but the way you read that notation is f follows g. So it's really the same thing. You're going to do g first, and then you're going to do f, because f follows g. So you're going to find g of -12, which would be -12 plus 2 divided by 5. So -10 plus -10 divided by 5 is going to be -2. And then you're going to find f of -2. You plug -2 into the f function, so you have 2 times -2 plus 1, so -4 plus 1 is -3. Okay, hope that process makes sense. For these challenge problems, I'm giving you a bunch of functions and I'm saying my input was -2, my output was 18, and I composed two of these functions, so which two did I do? So my process in thinking through these was trying to think of things that would make sense. I started thinking, well, what if I did h of -2? If I did h of -2, then I have -2 over 5. I'm kind of hoping that's not the answer. I'm kind of hoping that I didn't start with h because I don't want to have to deal with fractions. So then I'm thinking, okay, what if I did j of negative 2? Well, if I did j of negative 2, that would be 1/2 times negative 2 minus 5. And so that would be 1/2 times negative 2 would be negative 2 over 2, or negative 1 minus 6, minus 5, which is negative 6. And so then I have a negative 6, and then I glance at my functions and I notice that if I plug a negative 6 into k, so if I do k of negative 6, I would get negative 3 times negative 6, which is 18. So that was the process. And then in the correct notation, I want to write down what I did. I started with j of negative 2, and then from there, I did k of the answer, which was negative 6, and when I did all of that, I wound up with 18. So that's what we're looking for these problems. You can think through them and do guess and check and see what makes the most sense, and just try things and see if you can figure out what possibly could have worked. So try the rest of those 3 challenge problems on your own and see if you can figure out which functions work for those given inputs and outputs. The important thing for today is that you are able to go through the process of figuring out, if I give you an input, what is the output if you compose 2 functions with that input.